What is up, guys? Abixis here, coming at you with an Overwatch tier list. I'm sick as hell. We're gonna do this anyway. A little late on this one. Now, the reason I haven't gotten around to doing this one as quickly is because I was looking around at the other Overwatch tier lists that were being posted, and for the first time in a while, the general consensus is pretty close to how I actually feel. And I don't like just putting up repeat content for views. I don't feel like it's beneficial, but I'm going to go through it because there are some small things I disagree with on, like, example, the flats list and a few others. What I don't disagree with flats is that I don't believe that Zen and I don't believe that Life Weaver are great right now. I don't like either of them. Again, this is a low elo tier list, so it might be a little different in that regard for the reasoning I don't believe this. But I just feel like the value you're going to get out of these two for the amount of effort you have to put in is is far less than anybody else in same category. Same goes for a few others. Let's talk about some situational picks, C tier picks that are okay in certain situations, but I wouldn't recommend you one tricking them all the way. Symmetra, I go back and forth on Sim. Not a fan of it right now. Certain metas, or not certain metas, certain comps play into can be good. Hold her out a few times to a great degree, and it's useful in certain scenarios. Olari, just because there are a few supports, which I'll talk about in a minute, that I feel like are better. Mercy, fine. If you're Mercy main, so be it. But you're better off with a few other heroes, which I'll talk about in a minute. Same thing with Junkrat. There's just better options out there, guys. There's better options out there. Bastion, honestly, I don't play Bastion almost at all anymore. I'm not a huge fan of him. Um, and I don't love him. B tier is huge, huge this week. This is characters I think you could play just fine. Mauga's fine, pretty good. Sigma, same way. And Hog, the other tank, I feel like is, again, just same way. Good enough to survive. Zarya, again, good. Better than some of the people I have in C tier. There are no tanks in C tier anyway. But better than some of the people I got in C tier, but you still are better off with a few others. Um, Going to some damage down here. Where the heck is he at? I'm like struggling to find people. I'm cooked right now, boys. Soldier 76 is basically, again, just fine. We're in B tier, so this is the characters I think are good enough for you to play. If you lock 76 every game, you're probably not throwing, but you could be getting more value for less effort. That's really the way I look at things is how much effort do you have to put in to get that same amount of value. Which is why I'm also going to have McCree here, because I think there's one hit scan I like a little bit better than both of these people. Um, that'll be talked about in the A tier, actually. Sojourn, also in B tier. Same thing, just better value, I feel like, at one other character I'm going to talk about in a minute. Genji. Genji's good into certain compositions. If you're a good Genji player, you pull him off. Once again, B tier are just characters that I think are good. And honestly, I don't have a lot to say about the B tier. I usually don't, because B tier is just play them if you want to play them. If you're good at them, you'll probably be all right. Just not your best picks. And I feel like I'm missing somebody here. Look at my notes real quick. Oh, Juno. Juno, I think is pretty good. I think Juno's good. Kit wise, I think I love playing her. And I think kit wise, she could just use a few numerical changes and a few little things. And I think sometimes a lot of lower elo players get a little caught up, not knowing how to micromanage their damage versus healing and etc. It's just something with those types of supports end up being a little bit difficult for low elo players to process while trying to learn the basics of the game. If you've ever watched my videos before, you know that my whole point is to get you to understand the core gameplay basics and to basically focus on improving as a player and not having to learn the skill cap of a hero. That said, there are certain heroes like Tracer that I've put really high in every tier list because they're just so meta that it's impossible to lie and say that they're low. But it's just there's a give and a take to the system here, and of course, it's just my opinion. Doomfist, I don't even see him. He's also in B tier. I don't like. I'm not a big Doom guy. I'm not a big fan of the Doomfist for the value proposition that he offers. And he's one of the easiest tanks to throw on, unintentionally, of course. Um, and then I feel like I'm missing people here. Venture. Venture is in B tier as well. I actually really enjoy playing Venture. One of my favorites of the DPS that have come out since Overwatch 2 has come out as far as fun to play. I still think that they are just okay. And last in the B tier, is okay. Junker Queen. I don't know if these pictures are throwing me off or what, but I can't find anybody. Junker Queen, massive B tier this time around, boys. I don't even know if it's all gonna fit on the screen. I can't see my OBS right now. But yeah, B tier. So let's get into the A tier. These are characters that I think are good and I would recommend to you to play. Ashe. Ashe is really good right now. My favorite hit scan. I'm a little biased. She's my favorite character to play, so I always have her kind of high. But overall, just think she's really good. Baptiste, all arounder, can't go wrong with him. He's good at everything. Brigitte, very very good for the first time in a little bit. Wouldn't have haven't been recommending her for a minute, but she's pretty solid. Torbjorn, I've actually been really liking Torbjorn, which is funny because I never recommend him. I always dislike him. I always feel like Torbjorn, as the ranks go up, he falls off quite a bit. That being said, bronze and silver specifically, Torbjorn is an absolute force right now. If you look at some of his numerical stuff and data in bronze and silver, and like the stuff that I've been basically been able to gather with him in the lowest of elos, he is almost a cheat code, especially if you're in bronze. Um, so keep an eye on Torbjorn. Now, he's probably one of those characters that I wouldn't recommend one tricking because once you get a little higher, he begins to fall off, in my opinion. But overall, he's pretty damn good right now, and I think you'll like him. Anna Mari, another character I don't like playing, but she's just good. She's just a well-designed hero. She's always good. Echo A tier. I've had Echo and S tier quite a few times. I borderline A and S her, but the current moment, I'm keeping her in A tier. Keep in mind A and S for me are pretty interchangeable. S just being like a pick up the patch type deal, which I'm only going to put 3 characters in S, and this has been one of the hardest ones to do that for. Tracer's going in A. I'd put her in S, but there's only one DPS I feel like is who is the perfect recommendation right now for you guys, so that's why I'm going to put him in S tier. Sombra also A, great right now, good value. And honestly, a lot easier to play than she used to be in my opinion with the old way. Good value on Sombra just by getting your ult and not dying. Ooh, I'm still torn between the tanks, boys. I'm gonna put Orisa, Ramatra, Reinhardt, and Winston all in A tier. Which kind of just gave away my pick of the patch for tank, but those guys are good right now. I like them a little bit marginally better than the B tier tanks, but I don't think it's that drastic of a difference. Tank right now in general is a pretty strong role where most characters are viable. You're pretty much needles and pins on who's slightly better than the others, but I'm gonna go with those guys. I think they're all pretty good. Lucio I love right now. I just like the way he fits into most compositions. Its inherent value just by existing on the battlefield. Overall, big fan of him. With that being said, Mei seems to counter really well with a lot of the compositions we're currently running. I don't love playing Mei either, and I don't recommend her as a one trick to be honest with you, but I think she fits into a lot of the same basically a benefit of the stuff that's happening around her. So you play her into certain compositions, take a look at what Mei counters, and kind of get a feel for what she's good into. Keep her as a flex idea. She's can really game wreck. What the? I didn't even see. I didn't even see Wrecking Ball. Sorry, Ball. I didn't mean to bring you back, but you're going to B tier, buddy. I'm not a big fan of Ball in low elo. He's similar to Doom and me, where he is very easy to unintentionally throw on. I just think you're better off. Like if I'm telling like somebody who's learning how to play or newer to the game or trying to improve, I'm gonna recommend Maga, Sigma, or Roadhog before I recommend Maga or before I recommend Wrecking Ball or Doomfist. Let's get to my picks of the patch. D.Va, D.Va's good. Dive tank. It was either gonna be her or Winston. I like both the dive tanks right now, and I think they are extremely good. Dive in general right now is very, very popular. Um, I just think she's really good, and I think the only reason I like her a little bit better than Winston is a little bit harder to play at the baseline. He has a higher skill floor, in my opinion, so you're better off with the easier pick on D.Va. Sometimes bombs are going to get you absolute game-changing fights. She's just easier to use, and that's the product of why she's a little higher. Kirko, I'm biased. Kirko's one of my favorites. I've recommended her to low elo players in the last like 10 tier lists, I want to say, because I think she's the ultimate character to teach you how to use our supports go. Teach you how to use abilities and do damage and manage your resources and just basically get inherent value by existing. Great ult. She's just got everything that I, as a I guess coach, like to tell people how to teach people with. She's got everything. Um, she's still pretty good right now too. So I got her an S tier. And I can't even believe that I'm saying this right now because it's been a minute since I've been able to say this. But Reaper, is in the S tier for me. Um, First of all, if you've watched my other video, you know that I recommend Reaper as one of the best low elo DPS. I always recommend you pick like a hit scan, so Ash 76, or McCree, or Cassidy, whatever you want to call him, and Reaper, because Reaper teaches you positioning. He's got a get out of jail free card. He's got a game changing ultimate for low elo players that don't tend to counter it. You can get away with it a lot more. Um, and he's not really as reliant on aim, but the skill ceiling with the aim is still there. So I love Reaper for that reason, and he's also meta right now, guys. So if you go into bronze, silver, gold, even plat games, pick up Reaper. Follow my guide below, I might link that in the description. Follow the guide I have for picking your own hit scan. You hit scan Reaper and learn those two. It'll teach you the fundamentals of the game and allow you to still be playing in the meta. If you do Ash Reaper right now, guys, you're gonna have a meta combo, and you're gonna have Ash that carries all the way through most ranks. So go ahead and take a look at my other video if you want to. If you don't, then take a look at this, and also comment down below if you disagree. I'm totally open to discussions. Love to hear your guys' opinions on things, as long as you're not being a cocksucker about it. And overall, guys, please try your best. Good luck in your ranked games. I hope you get to that rank you want this season. Um, and enjoy it, guys, because that's the whole point of the game, is to have fun. So pick a character you like, comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.